I was in a class, this wasn't in the 70s, but I was in a class when this law had come in where you couldn't do that, but this teacher hadn't got the memo, and she absolutely belted a kid in front of the whole class. In fact, lots of children would be on the phone to something like the NSPCC, or they'd be investing in their parents saying, so-and-so's mum and dad do this, because they would understand that's not how families and men work. But again, the alarm isn't raised because culturally it's a time and place where these things happen, and probably because Judith herself doesn't understand just how grave her situation is. And the physical violence just gets worse. So Judith tells one of her friends that her dad threw pots and pans at her. One of those actually hit her in the face and gave her a nosebleed. I mean, he could kill her doing that. And Judith's friends became so scared of that house that she lived in because he was present that they genuinely stopped knocking on the door because they were too afraid that if he came to the door, there would be consequences for themselves, but most importantly for Judith. Now, as months go by, this abuse that is clearly getting worse escalates. May 1988. So she actually suggests to Maria to take her daughter to a child psychologist in Encino, which is something that they could afford. Now, whilst the therapist actually refused to discuss the case with Hanson, because clearly it's confidential, she said, what I can tell you is this child is going through extreme verbal, mental, and emotional problems.